Long ago, before any of our grandparents were born, long before computers and planes and electricity were invented, even long before there was a place called the United States of America, Jewish prophets who lived in the land of Israel said God made us a promise. God would send a person to govern the world who would be so wise that people everywhere would learn to live in fairness, mercy, and peace. But the prophets could not say when this person that they called Messiah would come. And so they waited, not just a day, not just a month, but years and years and years. So many years that some people began to worry the promise would never come. But there were still people who hoped, and one of those people was Mary.
God sent a messenger to make a promise to her. If she said yes, God would give her a son who would become the Messiah. She was amazed. Why would God choose a poor teenager like her to be the mother of the Messiah? But then she remembered that God often chose unlikely people to bring justice to the world. So she said yes. At this time, the Emperor Augustus decided everyone in the empire needed to register to be taxed. He commanded all the people to do this where their ancestors came from. So Mary and her husband Joseph had to travel from Nazareth to Bethlehem, the hometown of their ancestor David. The towns were more than 70 miles away, and there was one big problem. Mary was about ready to have a baby, but she was young and determined, and there was Joseph who resolved to help her. Did she have a donkey to ride on? Maybe. Donkeys were the pickup trucks of the age. Joseph was a carpenter, so maybe he owned a donkey to transport work supplies. Who knows? While walking or riding, the two managed their journey When they finally reached Bethlehem, they got an unhappy surprise.
Bethlehem, just a little town, was crowded with travelers. No matter where Joseph went, no matter who he asked, there just didn't seem to be room for one more person anywhere. And it was time for the baby to be born. What could they do? Finally, one innkeeper allowed him to stay in his stable. That night, Mary had her promised son.
Mary wrapped her baby tightly. She held him close. She knew babies loved to be held. When the baby went to sleep, she used the manger for a crib. Joseph and Mary chose to name their baby Jesus, which meant God is our salvation.
In the dark, out on a hillside near Bethlehem, shepherds were watching over their sheep herd. They looked up into the sky, scattered with stars. Suddenly, a bright light burst into being, and there appeared a messenger from God. Don't be afraid, the messenger urged them. I have wonderful news for you. The Messiah was born tonight in Bethlehem. You can find the baby lying in a stable there. Then an army of angels joined the messenger, singing, "Glory to God in the highest, and peace to everyone on earth." The shepherds were excited. "Let's go find that baby," they decided. and ran to Bethlehem.
Far away, astronomers were studying the night sky. They saw a supernova flash in the heavens. What an omen! Certainly something very important had happened in the world. Probably the birth of a great king. So they gathered precious gifts to give the newborn king: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Then they set off on a journey to find him.
From faraway lands, a promise from God fulfilled. What a lot to understand and think over, and Mary certainly would do that. But right now, she had a son to love. Together with Joseph, she would help him to grow up. Then she would finally see how God's promise of a Messiah would come to pass.